How does the blockchain work? Well, all over the internet, you will find videos about the basics of how blockchain works, but this is going to be more accurate because I'm explaining this as a blockchain developer. Okay, so let's get started. Let's just say that there are only two humans on planet Earth, the very first humans, Adam and Eve. Now, Adam wants to pay Eve some money. Now, since there are no humans and there is no concept of money, we can assume that the money is in the form of apples maybe, but for simplicity, I will just say dollars. So let's say that Adam wants to pay Eve $100. So how will they do it? Well, Adam can pay Eve $100 and at the same time maintain a ledger. In the ledger, he writes that Adam pays Eve $100. Now, can you spot the problem with this? There are many problems with this. First of all, Adam can obviously tamper this ledger at some other point of time, and in the ledger, they can write that Adam pays Eve $100, but Eve pays Adam $200. So Adam is in a profit of $100, and this is completely wrong. So what do they do is that when Adam pays Eve $100, both of them maintain a ledger. Adam as well as Eve maintain the ledger that Adam pays Eve $100. Now Adam will sign on Eve's ledger and Eve will sign on Adam's ledger. This way we know that no one can add something else in the ledger without signing it. We can see that the signature on each other's ledger is very important because this makes their ledger tamper-proof. Now, Adam cannot add anything to their own ledger because if it is not signed by Eve, it is not a valid transaction. Therefore, Eve can be sure that whatever is on Adam's ledger, it is valid. And she can also be sure because the same transaction is in her ledger also. And this is essentially how a blockchain works. Well, all over the world, there are many computers running the blockchain software. And when a transaction is sent to any one single node, the transaction is signed by the sender and broadcasted all over the network. How is it broadcasted is something else that we will tackle programmatically in a later video. But to keep it simple, when a transaction is sent to a node, it is verified by the node, it is added to the blockchain, and hence we can say that it is a chain of blocks because these blocks are nothing but just a set of transactions. And once a block is added, the same transaction or the same block is replicated all over. So let's say that I'm running a node or a software, a transaction is sent to me that Alice wants to pay Eve. So for now, instead of thinking about Adam or Eve, I'm saying Alice, Eve because those are more programmatic terms. So let's say that Alice wants to pay Eve $100 and this transaction needs to be recorded on chain. So what will happen is that Alice will pay Eve $100 and they will send this transaction to me. I'm running a node. Now I will verify the transaction and note that all the transactions that I have with me are verified. So I have the current state of the blockchain with me, and when this new transaction comes in, I will just verify that this transaction fits with the correct state of the blockchain. That is, when I apply this transaction to the current state of the blockchain, it produces a valid state. So this way I'm sure that this transaction is correct. Now what I will do is I will just add it to my blockchain, and at the same time I will broadcast this transaction to other nodes. When the other nodes see this transaction, they will also do the same. They will again run this transaction on the current set of state that they have. And once they have done it, once they have verified it, they will say that, okay, this transaction is correct. They will validate it and return me a signature that, hey, I have verified this transaction and this is good to go. So all of us will add it to our blockchain, and this way a new transaction is added to the blockchain while maintaining the correct state and also by being verified by 2/3 or we can say a majority of nodes. And this is essentially how a blockchain works. It's a simple state machine with various nodes running the same software. Some set of transactions come in, they are verified by a single node, they are broadcasted to various other nodes. The nodes verify the transaction, they relay back the signature that verified the transaction, and all of us added to our blockchain. And since majority of the nodes are always in consensus that this transaction is valid, we will always know that the blockchain is in the correct state all over the network. Now let's say a new node wants to join the network, and in our example, let's say that apart from Adam, Eve, a third person comes in, let's say Bob. So Adam pays Eve $100 and let's say a new person comes in and want to be part of this new system. So what they will do is they will bring in their own ledger. First of all, they will copy everything from the existing ledger, and the existing ledger has a valid record that Adam paid Eve $100. So they will add it to their ledger, and now when a new transaction needs to be added, it needs to be verified by all three parties, Adam, Eve, and Bob. So in a similar way, when a new node joins the blockchain network, they will run the software, they will download the whole state of the blockchain till date, and once that is done, they are ready to participate in the blockchain protocol. The protocol is simple, that a new transaction comes in, it is verified, the states are verified, the transaction is passed on to the nodes. A majority of nodes verify the transaction, they validate the transactions, they simply return a signature to the transaction, and now the majority of the nodes who are in consensus that these set of transactions are just added to the blockchain. And now the minority who have still not verified the transaction just need to add this to their valid state. And if you just think about it, since 2/3 of the nodes are always in consensus, the state will always be accurate and the transactions will always modify the state accurately. So this video is getting more technical, and maybe in the next video I will be explaining different terms that are used in the blockchain world. But for now, I think we have explained enough. I hope that you liked the video, and if you really like the content, then consider subscribing, because in the future I will be making more such videos on blockchain and distributed systems in general. So thank you for tuning in. See you in the next one.